Hi, I'm Ken Kennerly. This is a true story about my family, a house fire, and a castle that rose from it. I was just a boy when it started. I've been trying to understand it ever since. This is Voices in the Round Room. Voices in the Round Room, Episode 4, The Turret. Before the castle was finished, before rooms had walls, before anyone lived in it, I remember walking through it as a little boy. I was only 6 or 7 years old, and my father was building something that most kids would never experience: a castle. Not a house that looked like a castle, a real one with towers, stone walls, and a turret rising through the middle of the structure. The day I remember most. The middle turret was just being framed. Tall, wooden beams stretched upward like a skeleton of a tower. To a child, to me, it felt enormous. The inside of the castle was still raw construction. No carpet, no drywall, no furniture, just concrete floors, exposed studs, and stacks of brick waiting to become walls. Every step echoed. If you spoke, your voice carried through the entire house. And for a 7-year-old boy, that place felt endless, almost like a maze. Everyone thought it was the coolest thing they had ever seen. What kids get to say? My dad's building a castle. But even back then, before any strange things happened, there was just something about that place. A feeling. Not fear. Not exactly. Just something heavy. Something that made the quiet feel deeper. Years later, I learned something about the bricks used to build the castle. I spoke a little bit about that in the previous episode. They were not new. My father had purchased thousands of old bricks from a demolished prison, a federal prison, a prison where bad things happened. And he had purchased truckloads of them. Bricks that had once been part of prison walls, now becoming the walls of our home. Now, maybe that means nothing. And maybe bricks are just bricks. But sometimes I wonder what places remember. Because over time, things began to happen inside that castle. Things that still don't make any sense. In the very first moment that made me stop and think to myself, something's just not right. It happened when I was walking through the unfinished castle alone. In the next episode, I'll tell you about the first time I heard something inside that house when no one else was there, and why the silence inside the castle was never quite as empty as it should have been. If you're enjoying this journey with me through this story, subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Because the deeper we go in the castle, the stranger the story becomes. And eventually, everything leads to the room that gave this series its name, the Round Room.